It's Thursday, October 2nd. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. A Halifax health center's abrupt closure forces cancellations. Farmers warn drought has hurt the harvest and will cost producers.
A chilly start to Friday, but temperatures are headed up this weekend and into next week.
Live from our Maritime's News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. Some patients arrived for appointments at a Halifax-area hospital this morning, only to find it closed. The Cobequid Health Centre did reopen, but not before procedures were cancelled. CTV's Callum Smith tells us why.
One by one, people were turned away.
We were told that the building was closed. They had to evacuate it because of a fire alarm.
Halifax Fire says the call came at 6:40 Thursday morning, and when crews learned there was smoke inside the hospital, it was upgraded to a full first alarm response.
Started in the mechanical room in the area of the heating plants, the boilers that are located in that area. And again, once the power was shut down to them, the situation was quickly brought under control.
Officials say the boiler was burning fuel inefficiently due to incomplete combustion, leading smoke to circulate throughout the building. Some firefighters ventilated it, while others were focused on the people inside.
Staff and EHS helped us evacuate all the patients and staff that were on site.
Thankfully, there was no fire. Nova Scotia Health tells us a handful of patients were in the ER overnight and were transported by paramedics to the QE2. But the closure caught some people off guard, being told to rebook or go to another hospital.
I came for blood collection. I have surgery on the 8th, so this is very important to me.
I came over for blood work this morning. I have an appointment with my GP in a few weeks, and I needed this blood work to meet with her, and I had no idea the center was closed until I pulled in and saw the empty parking lot.
But when people started hearing that the hospital would reopen at noon, a lineup started at the ER, perhaps making for a shorter wait than what they would have had otherwise.
But it'd be faster than Dartmouth General anyways, so we're waiting. I'm lucky enough to have sick time from work and everything, so it's not going to be too much of a pain other than it's delayed my work day. I have a bit to catch up on.
Nova Scotia Health didn't make anyone available for an interview and didn't say how many appointments were cancelled. Callum Smith, CTV News, Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia.
And it was a dramatic morning at a Moncton school. Dozens of first responders and emergency vehicles answered reports of a suspicious substance. That sparked fear and anxiety. CTV's Derek Haggett picks up the story.
It's not a common sight. Hazmat team members entering a Moncton school. A woman in the office of Evergreen Park inhaled an amount of white powder and had extreme difficulty breathing. What was a major operation from the city's first responders actually turned out to be something relatively minor inside the elementary school.
A sodium bicarbonate, which is basically baking soda. It's for like a diaper genie, like somebody would have in their own home for wet diapers or dirty diapers. It's got a little bit of a perfume to it, but we had no way of knowing that.
A total of 10 people were exposed to what at the time was an unknown substance inside a package previously ordered. That prompted a hold and secure inside the school and a massive deployment outside of it.
And part of that is not knowing what the product is. This could be any kind of a scare. We know there's a lot of crazy things happening in our world right now, so we have to treat it exactly like it could be something, very dangerous.
Relief for worried parents waiting for news.
And you come here and obviously see hazmat trucks and blah, blah, blah. We have 4 little ones inside, so it was a really good feeling to know that they're all okay.
But parents didn't know everything was all right when they first arrived.
Got the whole block now locked off and a corner full of worried parents, so I just hope everything's okay and kids will come out safely.
The woman who opened the box was hospitalized, but the district says she is doing well. Classes continued as normal after the lunch hour on a day that was anything but. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
The fire at Lake George, Nova Scotia near Aylesford remains out of control this evening. Firefighters are battling dry, windy conditions. The fire has destroyed 245 hectares. More than 300 homes and cottages have been evacuated, but there are no reports of any structures being destroyed. 4 planes from the Northwest Territories and 2 from Newfoundland and Labrador are helping to fight this fire. A 35-year-old man is facing a murder charge for the second time in the death of a 27-year-old Nova Scotia woman 7 years ago. The body of Laura Ross was found in a burned-out garage at her property in South Rawdon. That was in April of 2017. Joshua Eric Kroll of Upper Sackville was charged with second-degree murder that summer, but the Crown withdrew the accusation 2 years later. The RCMP now says it was able to re-arrest Kroll because of new evidence. The Mounties say Kroll was arrested in Halifax today and appeared in court in Shubenacadie. He'll face a judge again on October 9th. 5 months ago today, Lily and Jack Sullivan were reported missing from their Pictou County home. There's been widespread speculation, but little real evidence about their whereabouts. CTV's Stephanie Seekos has an update.
Jack and Lily Sullivan are still on the minds of many Nova Scotians. These signs are in Bedford, roughly 130 kilometers from where the two were reported missing, simply asking, where are they? It has now been 5 months and there is still no trace of the children.
I think the RCMP is throwing a lot of experts and a lot of resources at it. In the meantime, it certainly doesn't look good for these poor children, but at some point, I'm sure we'll know what happened in some way or another.
4-year-old Jack and 6-year-old Lily were reported missing from their home in Lansdowne Station on May 2nd. Searches stretched on for days and weeks in the densely forested area nearby, with hundreds of volunteers and experts on the ground and in the air. Police tell CTV News they expect to provide an update next week on the work of the human remains detection dogs now being brought in from elsewhere in Canada, the latest investigative tool.
Either they're acting on kind of just another attempt to find the kids, or they're acting on some information they may have investigatively to have them focus in certain areas.
Police previously stressed there is no definitive evidence to suggest the children are deceased. RCMP say this remains a highly active and intensive missing persons investigation, which is being supported by partner agencies across Canada, saying in a statement, our team remains fully committed to utilizing every available resource to move this investigation forward and determine the circumstances of Lily and Jack's disappearance. To date, police say investigators have received 820 tips, all of which are being carefully assessed and followed up on. They've also conducted 80 formal interviews, reviewed all viable video files collected from the area, and have assigned more than 1,000 investigative tasks. With interest in this case so high and information so scarce, it's given rise to online true crime programs.
Just because there's no press conference, it doesn't mean there's not boots on the ground. And I know they brought in resources from other provinces. They're doing everything they can, but they need tips and they need the public's help in some way, because somebody out there knows something and they're not saying.
The investigation now moves into the 6th month, and colder weather on the way only makes it more difficult. Todd.
CTV's Stephanie Seekos. Thank you, Stephanie. There's a live look at uptown St. John. You can see in the distance one cruise ship. It's 14 degrees there now. There were a couple of unplanned cruise ship visits today, another one tomorrow in the port city. It all has to do with the weather. So let's bring in CTV meteorologist Kalen Mitchell and find out exactly why they're in St. John, Kalen.
Well, it was that pair of storms, right? We were keeping track of Hurricane Umberto and then Hurricane Imelda. And while those storms, for the most part, here in the Maritimes, parts of the U.S., avoided sort of severe on-land weather impacts, they were churning up a dangerous sea state. So I'd imagine those cruise ships rerouting because of those conditions. Now, they did pick a pretty nice time to visit us here in the Maritimes because it was pretty ideal early fall weather for today. This evening, temperatures are still sitting around the low to mid-teens. We're coming into the peak of our fall color season as well. It typically happens early to mid-October. Had a bit of crispness in the air. That not only refers to in the fall season to the fact that temperatures are a little bit cooler, but the air tends to be a little bit drier as well as we get into more air out of the northern parts of the country. So dew point temperatures right now, all very low single digits, and a few actually into the minuses, and that means that relative humidity values in most cases are only running between around 20 and 40%. So that gives you that little bit of a crisp fall feel to the air. Winds Out of the north, they're being sustained right now between 5 and 15 kilometers per hour. A couple coastal areas in Nova Scotia where they're a little bit higher, close to 20. No strong wind gusts being reported, one at Port Hawkesbury near 28. As we take a look at things on radar and satellite with an area of high pressure in place, it's expected to be a very clear night for the region. We might see a few thin high clouds drift over parts of New Brunswick tonight. Otherwise, though, it's a pretty ideal one for some night sky viewing. It's a waxing crescent moon. Actually, it's a waxing gibbous moon tonight, and its illumination is going to be closer to 75%. Saturn, though, is still visible quite clearly in the night sky. That'll be to the east of the moon. There's a quick pass from the International Space Station at around 7:34 p.m. That'll be starting low in the west and disappearing off in the southwest. I'll have more on the forecast when I'm back just a little bit later on.
Okay, we'll see you later in the show. And yes, it's been dry. It's been a difficult growing season in the region. Drought has been stressful for crops and for the people who grow them. As CTV's Laura Brown tells us, it's having an impact on the harvest and on the health of farmers.
There's the financial pressures, the constant workload, and the isolation. And then there's the weather. Sometimes Danielle Connell says she feels the weight of the world on her shoulders.
The hours are so long, and there's no days off. Unless you've got someone farming beside you every day, you can never leave. We're really struggling to turn a profit. Access to capital is very hard.
Connell is a commercial sheep farmer and butcher. She says her family's been farming since the Loyalist era.
I've seen very serious substance abuse, generational abuse issues, and it's this new generation where now we're comfortable to talk about how we're feeling.
A new program aims to get more farmers talking. It's called the New Brunswick Farmer Wellness Program. Farmers have access to 4 free counseling services every year, and there are 6 counselors across the province who have taken an agricultural awareness course so that they better understand the issues facing farmers. It comes at a critical time. The 2025 growing season has delivered some of the driest weather seen in some time.
I mean, the drought is something it's almost not a conversation because farmers don't want to talk about it. It's just a lot.
The province's agriculture minister says farmers understand unpredictable weather comes with the job. But this year has been unique in all the wrong ways.
The drought this summer, I'm sure a lot of farmers are just scratching their head. How are we going to, again, you can wait till next year, but the payments don't wait.
Connell wishes the program was available for the generation before her.
They'll say, geez, I wish we could have had these conversations when I was in my 40s. I really could have used something like this.
Laura Brown, CTV News, Island View, New Brunswick.
At 6:35, we'll talk about the devastating summer it's been for blueberries in our region. And a reminder, if you want to read more about all of this, you can see that at our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. There was a midday protest in Sydney today over Ottawa's plan to buy back firearms from individual owners. Several dozen people protested outside CBRN police headquarters over the noon hour. The police station was closed to the public today as a result. Last month, Ottawa announced a buyback of certain firearms with a pilot project in Nova Scotia. The program will be open to eligible firearm owners in select areas of Cape Breton. Protesters question the government's priorities on gun control.
We're not the problem. The criminals are the problem. We're hunters, sport shooters, farmers, trappers. We own firearms. We own them as a tool.
The effort and resources of the government, of taxpayers, and of law enforcement should be focused on crime, criminals, violence, and gun smuggling, not on law-abiding gun owners.
Ottawa has outlawed approximately 2,500 types of guns, insisting they belong on the battlefield, not in the hands of hunters or sport shooters. Starting today, eligible firearms owners can file a declaration of interest through a government web portal. A man is dead following an ATV crash in Nova Scotia's Annapolis County. It happened on Tuesday. It took place around 11 o'clock at night on Highway 101 in Deep Brook. Police found an abandoned ATV on the east side of the Bear River Bridge. A drone located a man nearby. A 38-year-old Cornwallis Park man was pronounced dead at the scene. The cause of the crash remains under investigation. Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston wasn't in Province House today. He was in Ottawa to meet with Prime Minister Carney to talk about things like energy.
Premier Houston has been a champion, great champion for Nova Scotia, for growth in Nova Scotia, but in a way, and I deeply appreciate this as Prime Minister, in a way that's helped to build the Canadian economy.
The pair discussed Wind West, among other energy programs. Premier Houston says he wants to make Canada, quote, an energy superpower, and notes his province is prepared to play a key role in that. Meanwhile, in Province House, a new bill aimed at honoring those who serve in the military was introduced. It comes almost a year after a Halifax-area school requested veterans not wear their uniforms to a Remembrance Day ceremony. CTV's Jesse Thomas has more.
The Houston government has introduced new legislation to ensure Canadian Armed Forces members, past and present, feel welcomed in provincial buildings while in uniform.
We want to enshrine in legislation that they are welcome and that we respect them, and that we as a province want to set an example to say that we respect the uniform and we respect the members who are wearing it.
The Honoring Canadian Armed Forces Act makes clear veterans and serving members can wear their uniforms in places like schools, hospitals, parks, and other government spaces. It comes nearly a year after a Halifax-area school asked veterans not to wear uniforms to a Remembrance Day ceremony. The initial decision was made by a principal out of concern for students who come from conflict zones.
So there have been incidents in the past.
But Adams wouldn't say if the school incident forced this new law.
And certainly we're conscious of those incidents, but this is an opportunity to show our military family members and armed forces members our respect for them.
The bill was fast-tracked through all readings and is expected to be proclaimed into law soon. Adams' son, Sergeant John Lavoie, a member of the Canadian Armed Forces, was in the gallery and witnessed the bill's passage.
When you're wearing this uniform, you're basically wearing Canada on your shoulders. And it's immensely important to have the discipline and the courage to carry yourself and conduct yourself appropriately. That way you're reflecting the rest of Canada.
But to have my own son in the legislature when we can honor our Canadian Armed Forces members today just meant everything to me.
Now, both opposition leaders said they were not really it's not necessarily in favor. They just said, Todd, the bill wasn't really necessary, stating that there is no law in place that prohibited veterans or current members of the armed forces from wearing their uniforms in provincial public spaces. But regardless, both said they supported the PC's bill today. As for Minister Adams, she's hopeful that this bill can now be passed fully into law before Remembrance Day, as to ensure an event like we saw last year doesn't happen again. Todd?
All right, Jesse, thank you. At the Cenotaph in Halifax's Grand Parade right now. And we can report tonight the final round of public consultations into the future of NB Power will take place later this month. The schedule runs October 27th to the 30th, with stops in 5 communities in the northern part of the province, running from Edmundston to Caracat. A first round of consultations was held last month in southern parts of the province. New Brunswick Premier Susan Holt says everything is on the table with the review, including a potential sale of the utility. Yesterday, NB Power announced it was seeking a 4.75% rate increase for next year. An interim report on the panel's findings is expected by the end of this year. An anonymous donor has contributed $1 million towards cancer research in the Maritimes. Patients and families will benefit from faster diagnosis, personalized treatments, and shorter wait times under a $1.75 million donation. The funding partnership between the donor, the province, and the Terry Fox Research Institute will be used to buy 2 pieces of new technology for the Atlantic Cancer Research Institute in Moncton. Time for us to step aside now. Still to come, clear but brisk autumn temperatures for the region tonight. Kaylin will have the details a little later. But coming up next, copper crimes.
The only word is selfish. They think of nothing but themselves.
A ballpark is the latest to be targeted by thieves trying to turn a quick buck. Details after this.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Copper theft continues to be a problem in the Maritimes. Last week, police charged a Debert man with stealing wire from a utility substation. And it's game over at a ball field in Bedford after copper was ripped from the lighting. CTV's Vanessa Wright has those details.
A friendly game of baseball is a common sight at this ball field in Bedford, but people here can only play during the day. When it starts to get dark, there won't be any lights to brighten the field. That's thanks to thieves who recently stole copper from the electrical panels.
When the phone call came, I was told it was just 2, but down here under further inspection, there are 4 of the 6 poles that have been targeted.
Ken Lenehan says hearing the news was disappointing. The 2 fields were named after his parents, Robert and Joan Lenehan.
It's heartbreaking because youth sports is what I've dedicated my life to. I came up playing in Bedford minor baseball and continue kind of the tradition that my parents were instrumental in, and now, of course, it does bother me.
Just 2 years ago, this ball field was completely submerged in water following historic flash floods that hit parts of the region. People here say work is still being done to restore the field, making this theft even more disappointing.
The only word is selfish. They think of nothing but themselves, and that's what they did. It's selfish to take away an opportunity, because some may think, oh, it's October, you guys don't play again until May, but it will take us. We'll be lucky to have these fields up and running for evening games come May, maybe June, July. As mentioned before, when we had the flood, it took almost a year to have night games here again.
The city told CTV News they will be filing a police report today. In the meantime, there is hope an investment will be made to get the lights up and running in time for next season.
We need the city to do something in terms of getting this fixed. This facility is, if not the most utilized in all HRM.
And no doubt one of the most beloved. Vanessa Wright, CTV News, Bedford.
Still to come, more sunshine tomorrow, warmer temperatures in store for the afternoon. Kayla Mitchell has the full maritime forecast. We'll have that for you right after this. Just a stunning fall day. Some folks who live in Fredericton may recognize this scene taken from Everett's family orchard, not far from town, overlooking the St. John River. And that is a picture postcard, the picture province in full splendor.
Doesn't that just represent October in the Maritimes right there?
Does. Hey, I've heard this a few times, that people are quite surprised by the amount of color that we're getting because of the drought. I think there was an expectation that it wouldn't be as brilliant, or we wouldn't get the saturation of color that we seem to be.
Well, first of all, I mean, even when we have a tough run of weather here in the Maritimes, I mean, the fall colors always show up for us. Some years a little bit better than others, but they're always there. My concern was, because of the drought conditions and the tree stress as we went through the summer, wasn't that the colors weren't going to be there, it's that the leaves were going to end up on the ground a little bit quicker, because we were getting reports already coming up towards the end of summer of leaves already coming down from the trees. And then, of course, I was thinking as well, if we got a big sort of wind system move through, which we haven't had many, right? It's been sunny, that would knock a lot of them off.
Good opportunity to plug our interest in your color photos.
Right.
Fall foliage photos.
Foliage, yep, send them on in.
Say that fast 3 times. Send them in care of him. He'll put them on. We love to see them.
For sure. Well, let's take a look at weather conditions across the country. So BC, a little bit cooler right now. Vancouver sitting at 16 degrees. Victoria sitting at 17. Temperatures have also come down in areas of Alberta and Saskatchewan, though southern Saskatchewan still holding on to some warmth. So Regina right now sitting at 24 degrees. Very warm in Winnipeg, seeing sunshine in 27. Up north, Whitehorse right now, 8 degrees. Cloudy conditions. Yellowknife sitting at 11. And Iqaluit right now, cool, sitting at 3 degrees. They actually have in Nunavut, for Clyde River, a snowfall warning. They're expecting about 15 to 25 centimeters of snow. Winds are right now in southwest of Ontario, polar opposite of snow. It's sunshine and 25. Got 18 right now at Ottawa and Montreal. 15 degrees at Fredericton, 11 at Charlottetown, 13 in Halifax, 4 degrees. Clear skies right now in St. John's. Taking a look at our timeline. Speaking of clear skies, a lot of clear sky around town. tonight for the region. A little bit of broken, thin, high cloud cover increasing from the west, mostly for the province of New Brunswick. There is a risk of patchy frost tonight, generally in the Maritime region. With high pressure in place, though, for Friday, after a cool to chilly start to the day, it's more sunshine for the afternoon, and temperatures that'll be up a few degrees from where they were today. Part of that has to do with a change in the wind direction. Today was a northerly wind. Tomorrow's winds more out of the west and the southwest, sustained 10 to 20 kilometers per hour, with some gusts between 20 and 40. There's the frost advisories that are in effect by Environment Canada for the province of Nova Scotia. And still a few areas of central New Brunswick, but again, even areas that are not underneath the frost advisory for tonight. If you're away from the coast at a lower elevation, a little bit of an open area like a field, for example, it wouldn't surprise me if there is some patchy frost. And that's because tonight it is cooler. A lot of low temperatures down to around the low to mid single digits. A few areas in the northwest of New Brunswick could be right down close to the freezing mark. Highs in the forecast for tomorrow, though. Nice bit of recovery heading into the afternoon. High teens, low 20s for the north of New Brunswick. That's above average for early October. Central and southern areas of New Brunswick with high temperatures tomorrow, mostly between 18 and 22 degrees. And for Prince Edward Island, after a cool or chilly start to the day, the afternoon high temperatures 19, even 20 degrees for most communities, including near 20 for Summerside and Charlottetown. For Cape Breton tomorrow, the high temperatures between 17 and 19 degrees. West wind, 20 gusting to 40 kilometers per hour. Highs between 18 and 20 in eastern parts of mainland Nova Scotia. Northern and central parts of the province with high temperatures in a similar range, so high teens. Every once in a while, the odd 20, 21 degrees. And then in the Annapolis Valley for tomorrow, near 20, 18 for Digby, and communities on the south shore of Nova Scotia with high temperatures mostly between 17 and 21. Taking a look at the 7-day outlook for New Brunswick, coming up on the weekend, chance of isolated showers on Saturday and even on Sunday for northern areas of New Brunswick. But temperatures, daytime high temperatures remain mild all the way to the start of next week, looking warmer for Monday and Tuesday of next week. And then a round of rain is possible for the Maritime region Wednesday into Thursday, Thursday time frame. Not rain on both of those days, but in sort of that time frame. Nova Scotia in the forecast, warmer temperatures coming up this weekend. Chance of showers on Sunday, they'd be isolated. The warmth continues into Monday and Tuesday of next week, increasing cloudiness on Wednesday, and then the possibility of some more widespread rain and showers on Thursday. And for Prince Edward Island, mix of sun and cloud on Saturday, highs near 19 degrees, 17 on Sunday with a chance of showers, warmer with highs near 24 on Monday and Tuesday of next week. Increasing cloudiness on Wednesday and rain possible on Thursday.
Right you are. We'll see you at the end of the show, Killen. Thank you. Next, we'll talk about the state of the harvest, and we have this story in entertainment.
Hey, it's Maggie Andrew. I'm an artist from Waverly, Nova Scotia, and my new EP, How to Sing for Money, is out now. And we're going to talk more about it coming up in a bit.
Okay, so tomorrow another chance to win $5,000 daily with Virgin Radio's 5K a day.
Get those keywords starting with us at 7 a.m.
And we will give away $100 in groceries. Good luck.
Welcome back. As we reported earlier, farmers are worried about the state of the harvest from fields to orchards. The summer's drought has really been devastating, something our next guest knows all too well. Donald Arsenault is Executive Director with Bleuet NB Blueberries. He joins us from Toronto. Donald Arsenault, just how bad is the wild berry harvest looking in New Brunswick this year?
Yeah, it's pretty a tough season. Look, first of all, I'll say this. I have so much respect for farmers. They're passionate, dedicated. They put a lot of energy, time, and money into their field at the beginning of the year to make sure that we have the best opportunity to have the best crop possible. And that's without knowing what the price you're going to get at the gate at the end of the year, and not knowing if there's going to be some issues that have come that we can't control. And this year has been it really hit us hard. Obviously, the drought, the drought has really had a tremendous impact on the harvest this year. And then you couple that with the forest fire season. We've seen it in Nova Scotia, we've seen it in New Brunswick. It's been very difficult. And, unlike Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, when the ban was first announced, it was total ban on Crown land, where our blueberry farmers were not allowed to go on their field to harvest their crop. And you got to realize the wild blueberry sector is very different from other crops. So we only have maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks to harvest the crop. So therefore, if you take away a few weeks, then it makes it that much more difficult on our farmers. So, and then there was limited access. So Look, to put in perspective, we have on an average 68 million pounds per year that we produce wild blueberries in New Brunswick. And we're looking this year at 20 to 24%. So that's nearly 70% of the crop of wild blueberries that we've lost here in the province. So it's a very dire straight situation with our farmers. Obviously, we're working with the government to look at if there's things that we can do to for financial compensation to help our farmers, because look, at the end of the day, we have about 175 farmers in the province of New Brunswick. And I can't say this enough that, we all have empathy for our farmers. We support our farmers, but sometimes we don't think of them that they're also business owners. We forget that they pay corporate taxes. They employ thousands of people. They buy local products. They buy heavy machinery at hundreds of thousands of dollars. They have a great economic impact within all our communities in our province. And, if you tell government that tomorrow there's 175 businesses that's going to shut down, not saying that all of them are going to shut down, but some of them are definitely facing some difficult decisions, the government would open their eyes. So that's what I'm saying. So our farmers are a very precarious situation right now. And again, this is a 2-year crop, so it's going to have an impact next year as well. So tough times. They had a tough 2 years. And this year, where we thought we were going to have a great year, it's just been devastating.
I know you don't represent blueberry growers, producers in Nova Scotia, but given the conditions, it's probably a similar story in that province.
Yeah, they're facing the same thing. PEI a little bit less, but Nova Scotia, obviously the weather and the fire season has a tremendous impact on both our jurisdictions. But, I look at this superfruit, sometimes we forget, and I think we have to do a better job to educate our Canadians all around the country. It's not grown elsewhere around the world. It's only right here in the Maritime.
Yeah, well, I want to ask you about that. Quebec has a wild berry industry. There's a little bit of Maine we know, but we're looking a lot at the Maritimes. If that product is gone, what does that mean for the people they're selling to? Is there a risk that they will lose those buyers if they're not able to satisfy the order this year?
No doubt. I would say about, let's say, give or take around 80% of the crop produced in New Brunswick is sold to various processors. Obviously, we have the bigger ones such as Oxford Foods or Wyman's. Then we have some Quebec processors. You got to realize that they also have commitments that they've made to various clients. So if we can't produce the product to be able to provide our processors, they can't fulfill their commitments that they made. So it does have a ripple effects, definitely.
I've got about 30 seconds left, but I want to ask you this. If the crop is that bad, what's their alternative? Yes, they'll ask for the province. You know a lot about how provincial governments work and funding and the like, but are some of them in a situation where they might have to sell off some land?
Yeah, they are, and that's where I said a while ago where they're facing that dilemma of having that difficult conversation and the dilemma to make that decision if they do want to sell or not. But also realize that how many people are lined up to buy my land when they know climate change have a tremendous impact on farmers. So that is a very, it's a tricky situation for investors too. So maybe farmers are left without having any buyers. So, but hopefully they don't have to get to that point. And look, we still think there's lots of hope for the industry, but obviously there's a big hurdle to jump over right now.
Donald Arsenault with Bluet NB Blueberries. Thank you very much. We'll hope that things improve for our berry farmers. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
We will take a break. We'll be back with much more after this. In tonight's health and medical news, how early detection for breast cancer can save lives. CTV's Amanda Debison has more in the Thursday edition of The Lifeline.
There's a fresh study out just in time for Breast Cancer Awareness Month that points to the importance of early detection. It finds women who miss their first screening appointment for breast cancer could have a 40% higher long-term risk of dying from the disease. The study involved more than 400,000 women in Sweden who were monitored for up to 25 years. The research was published in the journal BMJ. According to the Canadian Cancer Society, it's estimated that about 1 in 8 Canadian women will develop breast cancer during their lifetime, and 1 in 36 will die from it. Breast cancer is one of the most common cancers among Canadian women. It's also the second leading cause of cancer deaths. In the Maritimes, people with no symptoms of breast cancer or personal history of breast cancer can begin routine mammograms at age 40. Physical activity could reduce depression and anxiety symptoms in children and adolescents. A JAMA pediatric study found that exercise holds promise to significantly improve young people's mental health. This means fewer depression and anxiety symptoms, more self-confidence, and better social interactions. Physical activity like playing on a sports team or running around a playground could be an alternative or make other treatments like medication and therapy more effective. Finally, the idea of meditating can be intimidating, but experts say there are ways to bring short, inconspicuous sessions into the workday. Practitioners say meditating before or at work helps them maintain focus, sit still, and reduce stress. Mini meditations could look like decompressing in the car with long, slow, deep breaths before getting out the door. While repeating that process, consider setting a positive intention or goal for the day. Visualization is another technique that experienced meditators use. For example, picture yourself succeeding at the challenges you'll encounter that day. Do a mental scan of your body and think about relaxing the muscles of any spots where there's tension. Another discrete meditation technique is breathing deeply and joining your pointer finger to your thumb to form a circle. Experts say even 1 minute is still enough time for a quick reset. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for the Lifeline.
We're on the scene with Katie Kelly on a Thursday night. Hello there.
Hi.
It's music night. We're going to talk about a popular Nova Scotia artist with something new.
Yes, one of my favorites, Maggie Andrew, just dropped her latest project, and this one features some very unique collaborators and instruments.
A rising East Coast star celebrates a milestone this week. Maggie Andrew just released her brand new EP, How to Sing for Money.
How do you sing for money? I literally don't know. If you listen to the song, I'm still figuring it out myself.
She wrote the songs alongside current boyfriend Carlton Stone and ex-boyfriend Kyle Mischek, with Corey LaRue serving as executive producer. She says it feels good to make music with people she loves, no matter the title.
Nothing is off the table. You can get as like raw and vulnerable, say whatever you want, and those are the people who have seen like the best sides of me and the worst sides, so it's kind of, there's a big range of what we can do.
Maggie, I love because she's not scared to do anything. She knows she can be funny in a song, she can be vulnerable, she can be angry.
I think all the songs kind of have their own content matter, but there's a lot of like heartbreak, loss, growing up.
The EP was created at the National Music Centre in Calgary, a space that houses some of the most legendary instruments in Canadian music history.
Anne Murray's CBS custom guitar is one of my most favorite instruments that's scattered across the EP. Miles Goodwin's drums, Neil Young's microphone, his amp.
It adds such a kiddish in a playground feel to the recording process, which I think does translate into the music.
Maggie says getting to record with instruments from fellow Maritimers like April Wine's Miles Goodwin made the experience even more special.
Like literally in elementary school, the play that my school did was about April Wine. I know. So that was a really cool, like, homegrown connection.
It sounds like Anne Murray.
We got to go back just to use that again.
LaRue says the new EP also marks a big step forward in sound and songwriting.
I think that I'm very proud of the sonics of the record. I think that we really dove into a sense of, I want to say, maturity, not just in her lyrics, but also in the sound and what we were going for.
And the momentum doesn't stop there. Maggie is nominated for 3 awards at this year's African Nova Scotia Music Awards, and she'll be performing at the show.
Just really looking forward to being there and celebrating an amazing night of music and being with people from the community and getting to showcase kind of my own music on that stage and being in that space.
Oh, that's all in the family, isn't it? Hey?
Definitely is. So How to Sing for Money is out everywhere now. And we mentioned the ANSMA Awards. We are 1 week away from the African Nova Scotia Music Awards. We'll have more on that coming up.
Very good. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, see you
We'll see you after this.
With Crash and Sarah Betts.
Coming up tomorrow, everything you need to know about this weekend's CIBC Run for the Cure.
And it's apple season, so we'll focus on that for Foodie Friday tomorrow at 8:20.
Taking a look at the markets, the Dow Jones ticked up today, 78 points. Algoma Steel is bracing for multi-million-dollar hit to its business as it navigates those U.S. duties. Marla Fernandez has the details.
Algoma Steel says its losses are growing as a result of American tariffs. Algoma expects to lose $80 to $90 million in its third quarter. It sent about 100,000 tons less of its steel to the U.S. because of the 50% tariff. But Algoma's getting some help. Ottawa and the Ontario government have announced $500 million in financing for the hard-hit steelmaker. Ottawa's fiscal watchdog says homes are getting more affordable in Canada. He looked at the gap between average home prices and what a typical household can afford. That gap narrowed the most in Toronto and Hamilton, Ontario. September home sales creeped up in Vancouver, growing just over 1% from last year, but they are still well below the 10-year average. Now in Montreal, September home sales were up 11%. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 71.63. West Texas Intermediate is down over $1 to 60.16. Western Canadian Select down as well to 50.17. And the TSX hit another record close, moving up 52 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Kalen's on the weather deck with one more look. Awfully dark out there.
Yeah, it's clear. It's a little bit breezy. You could tell it's going to be a cooler fall night for the Maritime. So maybe you want to have your windows open this evening, but maybe shut them before going to bed. Let's take a look at our viewer picture for tonight. You know, if you bundle up this time of year and you go to the coast, you can still catch some spectacular scenes like this one. This was from this morning. It's the coastline near Inverness in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. It was sent in by Darlene McEachran. I want to thank Darlene very much for taking the time to share that picture. Inverness for tomorrow after the brisk start to the day. You know, the afternoon's looking pretty nice. Mostly sunny, high temperature near 17 degrees. Day planner for tomorrow across the Maritime region. Most morning temperatures, early morning temperatures in the low to mid single digits. Remember, there is a risk of some patchy frost tonight. And then moving into and through the afternoon, it remains mostly sunny. A lot of high temperatures tomorrow. Will be up around the high teens and low 20s. Winds out of the west and southwest sustained 10 to 20 kilometers per hour. With a few gusts between 20 and 40. And all of this fair weather brought on by that area of high pressure. It's going to remain in place through the end of this week. All right, let's find out what's coming up on Friday on Your Morning Atlantic.
Friday on Your Morning Atlantic, the importance of spending time outdoors.
We'll find out how that simple act can solve some of Atlantic Canada's most pressing health challenges, especially for seniors.
Start your morning with us Friday on CTV2.
And finally for us tonight, we take you to a place where goats and sheep have jobs. Here we are at Jay Peak in Vermont along the Quebec border. Domestic goats and sheep reaching new heights on the ski slopes. The animals have been eating their way up and down the mountain. A lot of Maritimers know that place. They've skied there. They're eating overgrown vegetation. The thinking is it'll make a smooth surface for the snow when it begins to fall. The 10 hectares they're expected to clear during their 5-week stint is a small fraction of the 120 hectares that need to be mowed, but officials say the goal is to move away from gas-powered mowers, so maybe we'll be seeing more of the animals. And that is our look at the day here at home. Bruce Frisco is here at 11:30. CTVNewsAtlantic.ca has the updates anytime. I'm Todd Battis. Hope to see you right back here for the Friday edition of your local news. Till then, have a good night.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast.